Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Thank you very much for joining me in this video, and today we are going to be looking at a track, and the track we are going to be looking at is the Mazda Laguna Seca Raceway, or Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, which was included in the free bonus pack from Kunos. The car I've chosen today is the Lotus 311, and the primary reason for choosing this car, apart from the fact that I really do like it and I haven't had a chance to drive it much, is because it is a roadster, which means it's completely open, so both on internal and external views, or internal and external cameras, we should be able to get a good view of this. Going to do things slightly differently. I am going to have the cameras swapping instead of having a little camera in the corner, and the first thing you noticed I did was try and knock over the cones and then drive onto the sand. Now I'm doing this on purpose. You're going to see that I'm going to be trying to knock over one of these. There we go. So I'm just having a look, as I should, at all the different surfaces to see if it's replicated correctly, driving on the rumble strips, driving on the sand, going over the bumps, trying to hit them at different angles, seeing exactly what this track is like both on and off the tarmac. But anyway, whilst I'm doing that, let's talk a little bit about Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, or Laguna Seca Raceway as I know it. I didn't really know it as the Mazda Raceway. This is a track built in 1957. It is in Monterey County in California, and it is one of the most famous tracks in the world. It is a 2.238 mile or 3,602 kilometer track with 11 turns, or as I thought 12, but apparently the corkscrew that I am coming up to now is actually counted as turn 11. So this is turn 11 and this is turn 11A. How strange. That's the first time I've had an 11 or an A on a number for a turn. But yes, 11 turns, and the corkscrew of course is the, sorry, not turn 11, that's turn 8. That's turn 8 and turn 8A. Of course, it is the famous corkscrew. What a drop around that. It's not very easy to drive that particular corner. You've got to get that angle right in, and in fact, on a run that I did after this video, I did spin the car out immediately into the corkscrew because I got the wrong angle into it. So it is very, very interesting. The actual area is very, very dry. Laguna Seca actually means dry lake, and apparently this was once a lake before, lake bed. So yeah, that's why this area looks very dry, very hazy, very deserty as well. I'm not exactly sure where exactly, or what the nearest desert is, or what the climate is like, but you can see that it is a dry lake bed, and therefore you do have a very specific type of track, really. The track itself is, like I said, opened in 1957 and has hosted a whole bunch of races, including Can-Am races, Trans Am races, Formula 5000, kart races, the Le Mans series for American Le Mans series, that is, the Monterey Historic Automobile races, which I think it still does, which is like the Goodwood Festival of Speed but in America, MotoGP, the Superbike World Championships, the IMSA GT, and is it the I'm just trying to remember what the other one is. Intercontinental? Is that what the IMSA is? I don't think so. Intercontinental GT Championship. So it has a lot of pedigree, and there's a lot of things that go on over this. But I think, actually, funny enough, I think MotoGP is allowed, but Moto3 and Moto2 are not allowed on this track. Anyway, the track itself, in Assetto Corsa, I mean, it's been in, for anyone who's ever played Gran Turismo, this track's been in Gran Turismo from the very beginning, and it's absolutely incredible in Gran Turismo, though not brilliantly accurate. But in Assetto Corsa, it's one brilliant track. I believe it's laser scanned to perfection, and as you can see, as I was driving around, everything seems to be in the right place, as in all the bumps seem to be right, all the rumble strips seem to be right, they all sound right, the tarmac feels good. It's pretty grippy tarmac. I was surprised. I thought it'd be a little less grippy, but it is fairly grippy tarmac. However, the edges are very, very bumpy, as you can see. As I'm testing it out, you can see they're very bumpy, and there are a few things that I learnt with this version that I never knew after a lot of laps in Gran Turismo. I have to admit though, Laguna Seca is not the track that I have ever been good at. This is the track my dad is very good at racing on. I have never been good at racing on Laguna Seca, but I have noticed a few things that I never noticed before in Gran Turismo. For example, the extra bump just there on that side. There is a bump going into, I think, turn 5, or sorry, on the exit of turn 5. There's a bump there that it looks like the corner is off camber, and then the track sort of flattens out, but it doesn't flatten out very smoothly. So there is a very specific bump there. If you hit that bump wrong, or if you're on the throttle as you go across that bump, you do end up sliding the car. I think I might do that a few times in this video over the next few laps. So you're going to see this, and at the end I am going to actually try and put in a pretty fast lap time, although it's not going to be all too quick, but it is going to be a pretty fast lap time. I am going to try and do a good thing there. Speaking of lap times, going on to lap records, I believe the lap record on this unofficially is held by a Ferrari F2003, so a Formula 1 car driven by, it's one of the Ferrari drivers. Is it Marc Jean or something? I think that's his name, Marc Jean, and he holds a record, and that is a 1 minute 5.786. That's the record, but it is an unofficial record. Ricardo Zonta, another former Formula 1 driver, actually did a Toyota F1 test around here, and that I was actually quite happy with that turn. Did a Toyota F1 test here and did a 106.3, but I think the official lap record is held by, is it Julio Castronoves? I think Castronoves. I think he's the one who has the official record, which is a 1 minute 7.722, and that was in a Penske Champ car in the year 2000. So there we go. Another record that was held was by Sebastian Bourdais, who did a Champ car in training and did a 105.880. So there's a number of records here, but officially, of course, it's Castroneves is the record holder. But there we go. I mean, other records that there are is I think Jorge Lorenzo has a 1 minute 20.554 in MotoGP on this. Tom Sykes has a 121.811. In 2006, the A1 GP race, 117.951 by Nicolas Lapierre. So yeah, and the production car, the Porsche 918, had this with a 129.89, but a couple of years ago, Dodge Viper ACR took the record and still holds it to this day, or the day of the recording, at a 128.65. So 128.65 is pretty good, and the number of winners and races on this are quite a lot. Lots of different, like I said, lots of different series, but a number of the names will be recognizable. For example, the late Nicky Hayden, Casey Stoner, Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, Jorge Lorenzo, Danny Pedrosa, all from MotoGP. You've got the likes of, let me think, who else would we know? Tom Sykes, like I said, is one that we would know. Just looking through the list here at the moment to just see who else might be there. Nicky Hayden again. This was pre-MotoGP for him. Jan Magnussen, another former Formula 1 driver. Alex Gurney, Alex Gurney is the son of Dan Gurney, who, again, the late Dan Gurney, who was the inventor of the Gurney flap. So, you know, very, very famous names here, and a lot of people have raced here over the years, and it's been good racing over the years for this particular track, and I'm glad it's in the Assetto Corsa. And the corkscrew, of course, is the important thing of all of this. The important part of this track is getting that corkscrew right. If you can get that corkscrew right, then you are golden for for most of the track. And this track, I do like, another thing about this track is runoff areas are very limited, very, very limited runoff areas. As you can see, you go off the track on this and you are literally straight in the sand. So that's actually really, really nice. I'm very, very happy about that. Track accuracy looks absolutely spot on. The scenery around it looks pretty much as I remember from Gran Turismo, obviously even in an even higher quality. There are more runoffs in this variant of the track than Gran Turismo's. That's probably because this is a much newer variant. For example, down this side you can see the runoff on the right hand side of the corkscrew at turn 8A. That runoff area never used to be there. That was not a runoff area at one point. That was just sand, or I suppose gravel. So yeah, very, very nicely done. In terms of textures, again, they very, very high quality all the way around. The buildings are good. The textures on, for example, the fire engine around the side is really good. The pit textures are good. All the boards look realistic. Everything looks pretty realistic, pretty right here. And all the objects seem to be collidable. As you can see, you just saw a cone go flying across the screen. They're all collidable, which I'm happy about. So that shows that they're not just objects that you can just ignore and just go straight through, which I like. The tire walls, I tried hitting them off camera to just see if they deflected or anything. They do not. They are still solid. I was hoping that they'd deflect, but that's okay. You know, you can't have everything. But all in all, a very, very well done track. Absolutely fantastic, and I can see a lot of racing happening potentially on this track, because of course this is a track that you could get some really good racing on, really good racing, especially up this hill. Like, just imagine somebody on my left hand side right now, or now I suppose to my right, and then going to my left, trying to go down the inside to get into the corkscrew before I do. I mean, imagine racing like that. I think it would be absolutely incredible. So very well done to Kunos there, and the camera angles, the replay angles are very nicely done as well. They do set up the replay camera, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I think this lap coming up now is going to be my fastest lap, so we'll make sure that we are on board for that lap, and let's see what I can do. Again, the car drives fantastically on it. The car really did drive fantastically on it. My one complaint about the track, if I had a complaint, is that it feels a bit too, just a little bit too grippy. I was expecting less grip, but you know, maybe that's because I wasn't pushing the car all too much, for the simple reason this time I did want to push the car, especially on these last laps. But like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm not very good at this track. This is one of my bogey tracks. It really is. I'm not good at it. This track is one I'm not good at. Abu Dhabi is another track I'm not good at, and there's a few tracks that I'm not good at. Obviously Abu Dhabi's not in here, but there are a few tracks that I'm really not very good at. The likes of Spa, Catalonia, Silverstone, Nürburgring, I'm very, very good at those tracks, but not this one. This is definitely a bogey track, but I did try as hard as I possibly could to get a decent lap time, and you can see I am pretty much almost 2 seconds up. In fact, there you go, I am 2 seconds up on the time. So that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you would like me to review next, and if you can afford to do so, please do support me on Patreon. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out, and there's the best lap that I am going to do on this video. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I do highly recommend trying this track out. I'll see you guys next time in Assetto Corsa.